All right, like I was saying here, I say 6:30 in French is il est 6h30. Now remember I told you some time ago that the word trans can be replaced with half. And what is half? I told you, et demi. Et demi. So it can also be il est 6h30. Il est 6h30. Meaning it is 6 o'clock with half hour. Okay? That's what it is. So the two ways to say 6:30 is what? Il est 6h30 or il est 6h30. Okay? That is that when we talk about the after the hour or après or after l'heure. The next stage is to l'heure, that is to the hour, to the hour, to the hour. To the hour, of course, this is a situation, I said in my note, this est la situation dans laquelle the time is proceeding to a particular hour. And to achieve this, la formule ci-dessous, that is the formula below, is used. And what is the formula? The formula is il est, inside that bracket there, will be represented by the hour to be. That is, il est, hour to be inside that bracket, then heure. The next thing is moins, remaining minute. Moins, you have to put the word or the expression, the word, plutôt, moins. Now, the remaining minutes comes in. So you must say, il est. Now, inside that red there, the first red there, you're going to put the hour that we're going to. Because we're talking about to a particular hour. To a particular hour. So, il est is a constant expression. Then the hour that is going, that is hour to be, that is the hour we are going, will be there, and the first red there. And then heure. After heure, moins. Moins means more. So, we are getting to a particular hour, but remain so minutes, minutes a minute. So this is the formula we're going to use to achieve that. And let's see as the example goes. Example 1 there, I say 2:35. 2:35. The hour to be there is what? Is 3 o'clock, isn't it? 3 heures. The hour to be, when is it? 2:35. The hour to be there, the hour we are going to is 3 o'clock. And what is 3 o'clock? 3 o'clock is 3 heures. And then the next thing is remaining minutes. Is 20 there. 25 minutes remaining. And that remaining minutes must come to play. Therefore, when you have the 2:35 there, the expression you're going to achieve there is what? Il est 3 heures moins, how many minutes? 25 minutes. Il est 3 heures moins 25. Of course, I told you some time ago, I say it's either you say 25 minutes or you say just 25, and the Frenchman in the French Francophone society is carried. So, il est 3 heures moins. That moins is very interesting and very important. Without the moins there, you have not said the thing correctly. So, we are getting to 3 o'clock. The hour to be is 3 o'clock. And so, you say, il est, it is 3 o'clock, but more, how many minutes? 25 minutes, that's the meaning. Okay, that's from a first example there. From my second example there, 3:40. 3:40, okay? Il est, how many minutes? What is the hour we are going? Now, straight 3:40. Look at the hour we are going first. So, well, il est, what is the hour we are going there? 4 o'clock. What is 4? 4 heures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Il est 4 heures. But more, how many minutes? 20 minutes. That moins there means more. It is 4 o'clock, but more, how many minutes there? More 20 minutes. That is the meaning of that expression there. And so we have, il est 4 heures moins 20 minutes. Okay? That was a very wonderful one. Igwe. Igwe is king, right? Igwe, to our English-speaking countries, Igwe is king, of course, to the Igbo man. To our native language, Igwe is king. And so, if I say, tu es tout puissant, tu es redoutable, tu es au-dessus des rois, Igwe, Igwe. Of course, Very interesting. I love this song. The French version of this song is very interesting. I love it. And that's why time to time I remember it. Of course, the next in my list is 4:45. 4:45. Of course, I told you 15 minutes is écart. Do not remember. Do not forget, sorry. 15 minutes is also known as écart. So, il est. What is the hour that we are going? Is 5, isn't it? So, il est 5 o'clock we are getting to. Okay? But remain how many minutes? Remain 15 minutes. 15. 15 minutes. Another word for 15 minutes is is l'écart. And what is écart? Écart is a quarter. Of course, il est 5 heures moins 15 minutes. You can also say moins l'écart. You can also say what? Moins l'écart. Meaning, it is getting to 5 o'clock, but more l'écart. More 50 minutes. That's the meaning. So please, as an Anglophone person, like a Nigerian, who operates in a Francophone society, of course, everywhere around us, for all the countries surrounding Nigeria, and Nigeria is the Francophone countries, and of course, so if you have to cross border, these things are very important for you to learn, for you to understand. As a businessman, as a businesswoman, are you a pastor? You are cross-border, you are going to Francophone countries, and of course, you need to understand that working for time, without time is very important, of course. So, this topic is very important to every man, every woman that is a businessman, businesswoman, a pastor, whatever you are doing as far as you are in the Francophone society or you cross-border, of course, these things will come to play.
Bonjour. Here is a chance to learn French language on French 101. A, B, 3, 2, E. The R in French is known as the R, and the R can appear in words like règle. Règle. Our T in French is T. French 101, a TV programme to help you understand and speak French language. Plus de 220 millions de personnes dans le monde entier parlent le français et nous voulons que vous les rejoigniez. French 101.
So, the next is 5:50. What is 5:50? Nothing stops us, of course, to say it is 5:50. And it is 5:50. What do we say? Il est 5h50. Of course, that's it. But for a correct time reading, we say it's 10 minutes toward 6. Of course. In French, what is 10 minutes to 6 there? 10 minutes to 6 in French is what? Il est 6 heures. Of course, it's going to 6 o'clock, but more how many minutes? More 10 minutes. And that's expression in French with what? Il est 6 heures moins 10 minutes. Il est 6 heures moins 10 minutes. The next thing is 6:55. You go again. Il est, what is the hour we are hitting there? It is 7 o'clock. What is 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so il est 7 heures, but moins how many minutes? 4 minutes. Il est 5 heures moins how many minutes? Of course, 5 minutes to go there. Il est 5 heures 5 minutes. Il est 5 heures 5 minutes. Of course, it's going to 5 o'clock, but remaining how many minutes? Remain 5 minutes. Of course, I say when it is 5:50. 5:50. Let's get it right. It is 5:50. We say il est 6 heures. Sorry. Il est 6 heures. 6 heures moins 10 minutes. Il est 6 heures moins 10 minutes. Il est 6 heures moins 10 minutes. I'm talking about 5:50. I'm talking about 5:50. Sorry. I'm talking about 5:50. When the time is 5:50, you are going to say in French, il est 6 heures. It is 6 o'clock, but more how many minutes? More 10 minutes. That's how that is read. The next thing is 6:55. When is 6:55? You say what? Il est 7 heures moins 5 minutes. 7 heures moins 5 minutes. Look, it is 7 o'clock, but more how many minutes? More 5 minutes. That's how it is read. Of course, the next is 7:56. What do we read there? Il est 8 heures. What is the hour we are going there? Always look at the hour we are going. Il est 8 heures moins, how many minutes? 4 minutes. It is going to 8 o'clock, but it remains what? 4 minutes. And that expression in French is what? Il est 8 heures moins 4 minutes. The next is 8:57. It's 8:57, 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes to 9, isn't it? Okay. What do you say there? Il est. The next hour is what? 9 o'clock. What is 9? Count the fingers again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? Il est 9 heures. Moins how many minutes? Moins how many minutes? Please. Moins. How many minutes moins there? Can somebody imagine that for me? Please imagine that for me. Okay? Il est 9 heures moins 3 minutes. Il est 9 heures moins 3 minutes. It is 9 o'clock. But remaining what? 3 minutes. That's the meaning of that expression. The next is 9:58. 9:58, what is the hour we are going there? 10 o'clock. We are going to 10. So you say what? Il est 10 o'clock. What is il est 10 o'clock? Il est 10 heures moins, how many minutes? More, how many minutes? 2 minutes. Somebody's getting there. That is a wonderful one. Clap for yourself. All right, the next is 10:59. And somebody's also getting the answer there. After 10 is what? 11. And what is 11? 11. So it's what? Il est 11. What is 11? 11. Il est 11 heures moins, how many minutes? Not 1, please, not 1. Somebody say 1 there. Not 1. It's what? Une. Because heure or time reading, for one, you say une because it's a masculine word we are dealing with here. So, il est 11 heures moins 1 minute. It's 11 o'clock, but remember how many minutes? 1 minute. So, il est 11 heures moins 1 minute. Note that in time reading, the Frenchman is such that there is a way he reads his time. Okay? That does not, of course, stop us from saying, of course, in times like 4:45, il est 4h45 minutes. That does not stop us from reading the time in that manner. We can say 4:45, and 4:45 is also a correct time reading. But the appropriate time there, of course, is 4:45. It's a better read that way professionally. So, il est 5h50. Okay, for this other one that is 5:50. We can also say it is 5:50. 5:50 is also correct, but the appropriate time to read there is 6 o'clock, but more how many minutes? More 10 minutes. But that does not stop us from reading it so by saying, il est 5h50. Okay, either 50 or 50 minutes. It's also the same thing. We also note that the French people read their time, that is the AM. There's a way they read it. Starting from 1 heure. This is where one particular logic is just hidden. And French 101 community here, I must unveil to you this very hidden secret. This secret is very, very important. Like if you don't understand the reading of the time in this manner, it's sometimes embarrassing. It's as if you were committing a very serious crime that is not forgivable or pardonable. Okay? So, when we say in the afternoon, how do you read the time in the afternoon? Of course, let's look at it from 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, of course, is supposed to be 1, but, the Frenchman is looking at it as 13 o'clock. The Frenchman reads the afternoon 1 o'clock as what? 13 o'clock. 13 o'clock. 13 o'clock. That's what he reads there. 13 o'clock. The Frenchman will read it as 13 o'clock. Frenchman will read the 1 o'clock as what? 13 o'clock. Okay? Of course, for PM, when he starts from 12 noon, we say, il est 12 heures. If it is not 12 heures, it is known as what? Midi. Midi. Midday. Midi. Another word for 12 o'clock is what? Midi. Don't forget, midi is another way to say midday. Midi. What is midi in English? Midday. And what is midday in French? Midi. So it's either you say il est 12 heures or il est midi. Il est 12 heures or il est midi. And that is what 12 o'clock, 12 noon. The Frenchman will say, il est 12 heures or il est midi, as I read it. Now, in the afternoon, of course, the Frenchman, for 1 o'clock, the Frenchman will tell you, il est 13 o'clock. What is 13 in French? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The Frenchman will tell you, il est 13 heures. 13 is what? After 12 is what? 13. And the next thing is what? 14 o'clock. 15 o'clock. It is like that until you will get to 24. He will get to 24. It is like that until when he gets to 24, which is midnight, he will now start again from 1 o'clock. Okay? 1 a.m. He starts again. That is when he say 1 heure, 2 heures. It comes again until when he gets to the afternoon again. He starts again from 13, 14, 15, like that. That's how he reads his time. The Frenchman reads his time. It does not stop from 12 o'clock. He goes like, okay, look at the example I have on the screen there. I said, when it is 12 o'clock, the Frenchman will say, il est 12 heures. When it is 1 o'clock, the Frenchman will say what? Il est 13 heures. What is 14? When it gets to 2 o'clock, the Frenchman will say, il est 14 heures. When it is 3 o'clock, the Frenchman will say, il est 15 heures. He goes round like that. 15 heures, il est 16 heures, il est 17 heures, il est 18 heures, il est 19 heures, il est 20 heures, 21 heures, 22 heures, 23 heures, 24 heures is 24 hours. That is 12 midnight. That is how the Frenchman reads his time. So in the afternoon, you look at your time. If it is 12 o'clock, you say it's what? 12. What is 12? 12. What about 13? 13. What about 14? 14 heures, 15 heures, 16 heures, 17 heures, 18 heures, 19 heures, 20 heures, 21 heures, 22 heures, 23 heures, and what? 24 heures. That's how the Frenchman reads his time. Meanwhile, beware that the 12 noon in the afternoon is also known as midi. Do not forget that fact. And the 12 midnight is known as what? Either 24 heures, or minuit. The 12 midnight is known as 24 heures or minuit. Chers téléspectateurs du monde entier, à la francophonie, this is how the French time is being read. Do not forget that in the afternoon from 1 o'clock, I repeat again, from 1 o'clock, the Frenchman will not stop at 12 o'clock. He will say 13 o'clock for 1 o'clock. He will say what? 14 for 2. So you keep going like that. 14, 15 o'clock. That is 12 heures, 13 heures, 14 heures, 16 heures, 17 heures, 18 heures, 19 heures. Just like that. It goes round until he can't from that 12 o'clock, 13 o'clock, until he gets to 24 o'clock, which is midnight. And then from 1 o'clock in the midnight, that is the AM there, he starts again from 1 heure, 2 heures, 3 heures, 4 heures, 5 heures, 6 heures, 7 heures. You know, day is broken. That is in the early morning now there. He goes again, 8 o'clock, which is 8 heures, 9 heures, 10 heures, 11 heures, 12 heures. 12 o'clock there. As he goes to the afternoon again, he goes again, 13 o'clock. 14 o'clock, go by half. 12 is what? 12, 13 heures, 14 heures, 15 heures, 16 heures, 17 heures, 18 heures, 19 heures, 20 heures, 21 heures, 22 heures, 23 heures, 24 heures. He goes again. 1 is in the night, of course. AM, 1 AM there. He goes again from 1 heure, 2 heures, 3 heures, 4 heures, 5 heures, 6 heures, 7 heures, 8 heures, 9 heures, 10 heures, 11 heures, 12 heures, 12 midday. He goes again from the afternoon again. He does not stop at 12 heures. He goes again from 13 heures, 14 heures, 15 heures, 16 heures, 17 heures, 18 heures, 19 heures, 20 heures, 21 heures, 22 heures. He goes again like that until he goes to 24 hours. So in the afternoon, time reading go from 12, 13 o'clock, 14 o'clock. Of course, don't forget that our our o'clock is a heure. Okay, that is that for time reading. Of course, I told you before this time that our time reading is divided into how many categories or branches? Say they are divided into top of the hour, and we'll talk about after the hour with the formulas, and of course we'll talk about what to the hours. With all the formulas that are there on the screen for you, if you apply them, you will get this in very, very wonderful.
Bonjour. Here is a chance to learn French language on French 101. A, B, 3, 2, E. The R in French is known as the R, and the R can appear in words like règle, règle. Our T in French is thé. French 101, a TV programme to help you understand and speak French language. Plus de 220 millions de personnes dans le monde entier parlent le français et nous voulons que vous les rejoigniez. French 101.
All right. Bienvenue encore. Je suis Napoléon Beninga, toujours avec vous sur cette émission. French 101. We're talking about l'heure. Let me say l'heure. And what is l'heure? L'heure is o'clock, and it has to do with the time reading. And I've told us this in this class that l'heure, for you to be able to realize the l'heure, of course, how to read time, you need to look at it from 3 different dimensions. Talking about the top of the hour, talking about top of l'heure. We look at it again from after l'heure, which of course means in the French community, après l'heure. Of course, in the English community, that same will be after the hour. And I told us that that is when the time is after, with some few minutes passing one particular hour. And I also told you that the next step is to l'heure, that is to a particular hour. For instance, you have something like 2:40, meaning that you are going to a particular hour, and for you to be able to read all these, there are formulas that are following them. For the first one, which is top of l'heure, which is top of the hour, I said the formula is one particular thing, one particular expression, which is il est. And when they say il est, the next thing is the hour. What is the hour? Il est, that particular hour, talking about top of the hour. For instance, if it is 2 o'clock, if we say il est, the 2 will come next. And what is 2 in French? 2 is 2. So if we put 2 there, you say il est 2. The next thing is heure. Il est 2 heures. Il est 2 heures. And I also told us in this class that when you hear me say 2 heures, in between heure, okay, in between 2 and heure, there is Z sound there. And I told us that that sound is in French called la liaison. La liaison may not be necessary to discuss in this class, but I have to tell you that it's an invisible connection that is connecting a word that is ending with a consonant to another word that is starting immediately with a vowel. There must be what we call la liaison. That's why you hear me say 2 heures, 2 heures, 2 heures, 2 heures. It simply means it's 2 o'clock. If it is 3 o'clock, what do you say? Il est, you just remove the 2, you replace it with a 3, and you have what? Il est 3 heures. Then, if it is 4, what do you say? Il est 4 heures. What about 5? Il est 5 heures. What about 6, which is 6? Il est 6 heures. 7, il est 7 heures. 8, il est 8 heures. 9, il est 9 heures. 10, il est 10 heures. So on and so forth. And I also told us that there's another one we call after the l'heure, après l'heure, meaning that is a situation where the time has passed a particular hour with some few minutes. The same expression, which is il est, still stand. And I told us, the moment you say il est, the formula is il est, then you put the hour that you're talking about there, then heure. After heure, the next thing is the minute that is just past that hour. So if you have 1:05, that is 5 minutes after 1, you are talking about what? Il est une. I say une. In time reading, you don't use un because the word heure there, in terms of time reading, is a feminine word. So you don't use what? Un. You use what? Une. Because une is a feminine part of un. If you say un, we are talking about the masculine aspect of it. Une is a feminine aspect of it. So heure there is a feminine word. So you say il est une heure. Of course, one thing you need to note again there is that in as much as it's une heure, there is no S attached to the heure there. But every other one, S is attached to the heure. So, une heure is 1 o'clock, one single o'clock. So, the S is not attached. So, we have, il est 1h05. How many minutes past 1 o'clock? 5 minutes. So, you have, il est 1h05. And I also said that even if the minute is not there, the Frenchman understands and it's acceptable. You just say il est 1h05. It's also acceptable in the Francophone society. And if you have words like expression or time like 10 minutes after 2, you can read that as what? Il est 2h10 or 2h10. Of course, I didn't say 10 minutes. When minute is after the 10 there, you say what? Il est 2h10. So at this point, I want to rehearse this, practice this, and you're going to get this. So, messieurs, dames, je vous aime bien, chers téléspectateurs du monde entier, je suis votre ami, monsieur Napoléon Belingaboli, sur cette émission télévision qui vous arrive de Salvation TV depuis le Nigeria, au delta du Nigeria. Thank you for your patience. I thank you for your attention. Je m'appelle monsieur Napoléon Belinga, votre ami, sur cette émission, sur cette chaîne céleste. Merci bien et passez un bon moment. Au revoir.